Every day, your mind, your brain, your nervous system is under attack. And it's not with bombs or bullets, but with something far more insidious. So the shocking truth about your perception being hijacked is most people aren't victims of this war. They're just volunteers. And the reason we do Thursday transmission, and the reason that I think y'all keep coming back, is we take 20 minutes or so to cut through the noise, clear the energy, and remember something we never lost, but just forgot, which is your true self. Let's get to it, shall we? Because it's a big one. It's a dramatic one, and it needs to be dramatic. And the title is, probably got your email or your text or whatever, but the title is Spiritual Warfare: How to Protect Yourself Against Psychological Manipulation and Chaos. Spiritual warfare: how to protect yourself against psychological manipulation and chaos. I know it sounds like some psyops thing. It isn't, but it sort of is, but it's really about what we can all do to manage what I just call the interference of the world, which is very, very, very strong right now. So let's start with a little gut punch here, right into the solar plexus. Every day, your mind, your brain, your nervous system, your mind, your subconscious mind, your brain, your nervous system is under attack. And it's not with bombs or bullets, but with something far more insidious. And every time, think about it this way, every time you check your phone and you feel that spike of anxiety, every time you close social media feeling worse about yourself than when you picked up the phone, every time you replay a conversation in your head until it becomes more real than what actually happened, every time you make assumptions about somebody attacking you or doing something, none of this is random. None of it's random. It's engineered. What is happening is that your perception is being hijacked. And I would jot that down. My perception is being hijacked. Now, some of you are very in tune, very strong, that you are able to repel it. But I will say that unless we are diligent and responsible with our energy, which is why you're here, you can feel a psychic, energetic, physical fatigue. So when you're on social media, when you're watching, maybe you're signing on to the news and you're on a website, people post memes. They're repeating phrases, right? They amplify the chaos without ever realizing they've been conscripted into someone else's battle. So the shocking truth about your perception being hijacked is most people aren't victims of this war. They're just volunteers, right? You're signing on, you're seeing somebody post something, you're agreeing, you're like triple hearting it, or you're grabbing it and you're sharing it, you're creating a meme and you're getting agitated, and it's all starting to escalate and stack up against your brain and your heart and your nervous system. And this is spiritual warfare. And the front line is your nervous system, your beliefs, and your focus and attention. So think about it. When and why do you feel drained, if you do, after scrolling social media? Anybody here have that? Like you're scrolling, all of a sudden you feel like foggy or drained. Why does the news leave you anxious, even when the story has nothing to do with your life? Why do you replay negative conversations in your head until they feel more real than the actual event? Because manipulation isn't about logic. Manipulation is not about logic, it's about control of meaning. Manipulation is about control of meaning, the meaning you're putting on something, the meaning you're assuming, the meaning you're expecting. So when your perception is hijacked, your reality is hijacked. And once your reality is hijacked, your prosperity, your intuition, your very sense of freedom is out the window. It's gone. We think we have freedom when, we look at, maybe there's like a cute little scroll on social media, or maybe we're talking to our neighbors about a vacation they're taking, but all of a sudden they kind of go negative, or they start spewing lack or scarcity, or you're in some political fight. It is going to hijack your own perception of reality, and then you have tossed your own emotional, mental freedom out the window. And so right now, as I'm talking, how many of you are maybe even thinking about something negative that happened today? Maybe you're not, but if you are, just put Y in the text chat. How many tabs are open in your mind? Forget about your computer. How many tabs are open in your mind about this thing and that thing and that thing? Notice your shoulders. Are they up? Are they tense? Are you breathing up here in your neck instead of in your belly? The thing to remember, that's not your stress, everyone. That's borrowed stress. And this is the spiritual warfare. And the front line is your nervous system, your beliefs, and your attention. When I was younger, and even now, I don't know about you, if you're resonating with what I'm saying, but I kind of think we all go into this as human beings. I think it's part of the human experience right now and has been. But I remember when I was younger, I felt for this hijacking of my perception. And I thought anxiety was my personality. I thought I was just an anxious person. I thought doubting my own talents and abilities was being realistic. But it's not the case. I borrowed it. So for instance, I remember sitting on stage during a really difficult orchestral piece when I was playing with the Hong Kong Philharmonic. Some of you know I used to be a professional flutist. So something happened. I think it was the horn player cracked a note. And when a horn player cracks a note, they just freak out. And you'll feel it's like a jolt on the stage. Everyone's a crack, like a splat kind of thing. And so the French horn player cracks a note. Then the trumpet player cracks a note. I think the clarinetist squeaked. It was just this round robin. The whole orchestra started to ignite a fire of mistakes. And you could just feel everybody, and you could hear the sound change. You could feel the vibration change of the music, and the conductor's having an absolute cow. And so I kept thinking, don't mess up, don't mess up. What if I mess up? I'm going to get fired. Everything took over. That was borrowed stress. I didn't crack a note. And even if I did, notes get cracked. Let's be, I played with some really amazing musicians over time who have made mistakes. So what was really happening was that I was plugged into someone else's script. Maybe the script of the whole orchestra took hold very quickly. And it was a script about fear of not being good enough, a script about fear of being judged, a script about fear of not being perfect. And that world, some worlds, it's tough. Perfection's a baseline. So when you think you're dipping below, it's full on amygdala implosion. And so when you're playing classical music, when you're in an orchestra, you need the approval of the conductor, of your colleagues, of the audience. And when you feel like you're not going to get it, when it's being pulled away from you, there's an insanity that hits the mind, the nervous system, and the collective consciousness. And when you realize what's happening, when I stepped out and I was what happened tonight? It's like walking out of a dream where you didn't even know you were asleep. So maybe you have a flashback of a situation where you borrowed the stress, you borrowed the manipulation, your perception was being changed in the moment, and you didn't even realize what was happening, but you certainly felt it. Does that make sense, everyone? It's you're just... And then you're in this vigilance high alert, which means that you're using this force of energy just to be aware of someone judging you or something else happening or someone not approving you. You're using so much energy that your soul's kind of going, what are you doing? Did you forget who you were? So the true danger, everyone, isn't just distraction. It's what it costs you. So you miss opportunities because fear disguised as wisdom told you to wait. Remember, we've talked about your terror barrier. You get right up to maybe a quantum leap or a micro leap, but you're afraid. Fear's like, oh no, don't do that. Oh no, you don't need that. Don't, whatever. And honestly, your soul's like, go. Or you burn out and hustle because shame kept whispering to you, you're not enough yet. You got to keep driving it. You got to keep going. Or you sabotage prosperity because scarcity has been normalized. It's something you grew up with, or it's broadcasted, or it's been reinforced again and again, maybe by a partner or a loved one or whatever, your own self. And so whenever you have an opportunity of raising your prosperity, whether it's wealth, health, love, or spirituality, you sabotage it. This is psychological manipulation at its peak. It doesn't just change your mood, it programs your identity. So take a breath here, because at this point, your subconscious will want you to opt out. Your nervous system will be like, wait, hold on, there's going to be something new here. Don't do this. She's going to take you on a quantum leap, and you do better when you just play small. So I want you to breathe. I want you to soften your shoulders. I want you to just be like, it's safe for me to keep listening and keep leaning into possibility. So let's look at 3 levels of manipulation. Show exactly how it works. There's some obvious enemies, right? So you feel drained after scrolling social media. The news leaves you anxious about things that have nothing to do with your life. The algorithms designed to capture and monetize your attention continue to hook you again and again. Before you know it, you don't even know who you are as you're in front of a screen. And then there's these subtle infiltrators. It might be well-meaning friends who dump their anxiety on you. Anybody have that friend that calls and they're just like vomit anxiety? Or a cultural programming that says realistic means overwhelmed and stressed, because you're looking around. If you even pay attention to the news, you are seen and being shown like energetically, like these flashing energetic lights of fear and control, which is telling you overwhelm and stress is normal. You better stay stressed. You better stay in fear. This news is on 24/7. They're not playing pretty stories, anyone. This is why you got to watch Virgin River, which is so soap opera-y. And then there's the constant low-level fear that something bad is about to happen. Anybody want to have that? Like, even when things are good, you're like, when's the shoe going to drop? Those are like the subtle infiltrators. So we've got the obvious ones, we've got the subtle ones, then we have internal collaborators. This is when the hijacking got so deep that your own doubt patterns are mimicking wisdom, right? So let's say you want to go after a new job and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And all of a sudden, doubt takes over and starts to justify and sound like wisdom. Well, you know what? It's too much. It's going to be too stressful. It's going to be too this. Or let's say you want to invest in something. You really want to invest in your own personal or spiritual growth or buy something. You can hear the old shadows of shame and scarcity, like, who do you think you are? You can't spend that money. And it sounds wise, but it's actually fear hijacking you, holding you back. And self-sabotage can disguise itself as being responsible. So the real cost with all of this is manipulation isn't about logic. It's about control of meaning. Again, when your perception is hijacked, your reality is hijacked. And once your reality is hijacked, your prosperity, intuition, all of it, your very sense of freedom, as we've said, is gone. This is something that even before we had this technological and news force, and dare I say government forces, trying to get into our minds, the ancients knew this. And even teachers back from the 50s, 60s, and 70s understood, because they understood energy. So there was a great writer, teacher named Manly P. Hall. And he's got a great book, like The Ancient Teachings of All Time. But after that, like later years, closer to his death, he started to talk about this hidden knowledge about energy manipulation. And really only a few chosen people in modern day times knew it. This is stuff that Pythagoras used to study. This is stuff that in Egypt you would be initiated into certain schools and then you'd be taught it. But the truth is, what he really started to reveal, and you can absorb this now because you're here listening to a Thursday transmission and you're cool and you're going to do good stuff with it, you will not do harm with it, is that there are things happening around you. The air you breathe is magnetic with energy that is in and around you. This is why being in the presence of someone who's wise and enlightened and has clean energy, all of a sudden you're like, I really like being around this person. It's also why when you're around somebody with a lot of negativity or lack, it means you start to feel heavy, and it's like their energy begins to seep into your own energy field. Then your own destructive emotions make this field even more dense and weaken your energy. So many people call the things happening around them evil or the devil, but there's actually, I don't really believe in the evil. Like, I don't believe in the devil. Like, yeah, evil, good, dark, light, everything is a law of polarity. But there's actually a weakness in your energy field that makes negative energy resonate with it. So the magnetic shield you have gets penetrated by the interference of the news, others' opinions, and then interfered from the inside out of your own doubt about who you really are. So think about it as you have gashes and tears in your field that prevents the benevolent energy, the higher energy, to express itself through you. It's trying. And this is, again, what Pythagoras knew. This is, for those of you that work with me in Infinite Breakthrough of the Ashram, you know we're using a lot of sacred geometry to clear the etheric field, dodecahedron, icosahedron, tetrahedron, even the sphere and the cube, because these were all parts of the original, you could say, language of the universe. They hold an energy to clear. And this, again, were all parts of the initiates in spiritual teachings. Never made public back then because of the power that it had. And so when you pause and think, I'm responsible for my energy. And if you have the tools and the teachings to maintain a resilient energy field, you will be able to receive the benevolent energy. It's the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. That benevolent energy will come down and through you, and you can express it. The dark energy or evil, the gashes and tears, won't hold in your field. This is why you'll see some monks who talk about someone with kind energy. Be like, oh, someone with kind energy, animals will automatically go to them. You'll be out in public and someone will come up to you and ask for directions, even if you're a tourist. You'll see people smile at you. You have kind energy. This is a good sign. You never want to lose that. But people do, because of the psychological manipulation. One of my clients came to me drowning in self-doubt. She is a brilliant woman, talented, hugely talented, but it was like she was paralyzed in self-doubt. And we took 2 solid weeks to work with the tools and teachings that we use and specific universal laws to cleanse her energy field, protect her field, and then use that third eye as the filter of truth. The third eye is right in the center, the cave of Brahma. Some of you are coming to the third eye code tomorrow. So when we worked and got her reset, established a higher frequency of a field, she was like, for the first time in my life, I feel like me. She just felt like she landed, not what the world was telling her to be. And the really cool thing, because everything is cause and effect, you change your energy, you change your mindset, you change your belief system, you are in charge of your own perception, then your reality changes. Your external world just kind of keeps going up. And in less than a month, she had manifested a new job. She attracted a really beautiful relationship that was harmonious, not like the old narcissistic loop, but a new, loving, harmonious relationship. None of this because she worked harder. None of this because all of a sudden she was on dating apps, but because she stopped fighting invisible enemies that were never hers. And she knew her true self. So take a breath, everyone. I'd love to hear what is resonating, because here's the shocker of it all. You don't need to escape the chaos. Everyone's thinking, I got to go on vacation. I got to go sit. Like, yeah, we all feel great when we sit and meditate for 2 hours on the beach or in the woods, but you don't need to escape the chaos. You don't need to fight the manipulation. In fact, you're going to create more when you resist it. That's a whole nother trap. The real elegant move here, the one very few ever discover, so please listen up, this is really important, is you need to stop playing the game entirely. Spiritual warfare ends the moment you withdraw your consent. The moment you stop letting their symbols override your truth. The moment you align with universal laws instead of man-made, human-made narratives. It is you being responsible for your energy. Stop assuming things. Stop opening up these negative thought forms. Harness your energy back. Create a coherence between the electrical thoughts and your magnetic heart and vibration. All of this because it's responsible for your thoughts, actions, beliefs, and your words. So it's really you owning this life no matter what. And now is a time that feels, but it isn't. Again, it's perception. It feels harder. It feels more chaotic. That is just you buying into the story of the chaos. Once you withdraw from it, you're like, I'm not playing that. I don't do that. It's really like, I don't do that anymore. I just don't do it. You're going to feel that freedom. I mean, all of this is why we started Illumination Academy, 2 decades ago. It's why I keep studying with the great sages and saints and behavior profilers and neuroscientists, because I keep gathering all of this truth to give to you, to give to our clients, so that you can ascend above, you can rise above the chaos of the world, because you can't think your way out of manipulation. Your brain and nervous system are the battlefield, but you get to walk off. You can't hustle your way into freedom. The hustle loop is the trap. Like, I'm going to hustle, I'm going to work harder, and then I'll be free. You will not. And you can't figure it out alone, because the very beliefs you're using to solve the problems are the ones keeping you stuck. Remember, you cannot create a new reality with an old identity. So breathe in. I know we're past time, but I'm sharing this now because the manipulation effort has reached a tipping point. And most people will never learn this because it requires them to question everything they think they know. And that means they have to admit that maybe I didn't know that. And when that kind of person has to be courageous. But again, if you try to think your way out of manipulation, you're going to think your way into it deeper. And I've seen this. I mean, I've spent 20 years in high performance environments, learning to read energy, to protect consciousness, to elevate consciousness. And what I discovered is that you can't defend against what you can't see. But you can be that resilient, high frequency energy and human so that you repel anything that's trying to attract you or attack you. I would say this is why what we do here, like our coaching programs and my one-on-one coaching and the Avery that some of you have been through, it's not just mindset work. It is like consciousness technology. It works at the only level real freedom exists: beliefs, energy, and universal law alignment. That's how you stop being hijacked. That's how you magnetize prosperity. That's how you live free in a world designed to try and keep you bound. So think of it this way. You have two paths from this moment: to continue letting others write your reality, and they're so happy to do it, or step into the power you were born with, which is quite magnificent. Because in this spiritual war, consciousness is the sword. And when your consciousness is there, when you're present, when it's higher, you can cut through anything. So that's our Thursday transmission, everyone. Step out and off the battlefield. Now, if you do want help with that, a couple things we have going on here that are really quite cool. As some of you know, we've got the Third Eye Code happening tomorrow, and some people are staying Saturday. In November, I have the Confidence Blueprint, another retreat here in Las Vegas, 2 days. It's going to be the deepest dive into all of this kind of thing, remembering your true self within so that your confidence just escalates, that you become this magnet for what you want. It's like reaching to the edge where you've never been before. That retreat is also a bonus in a coaching program I have called Spirit Guided Coaching. It is one-on-one. We only have a few spots of that, and it's basically your spiritual teachers, my spiritual teachers, being channeled to help you close out this year in an amazing way and set up 2026. So if you're interested in any of it, and I hope you are, just type in interest, and one of the team will reach out to you or reply to our emails. In any case, you are amazing. And I would say it's time to, we wear suits now. Appreciate you, everyone. This is how I came to specialize in my field with helping clients recover from the narcissistic abuse. Amazing. Hi, Nita. We miss you here. All right, everyone. Have an amazing night, and we'll see you next week. Big hug.